in Hollywood you never expected. They be having these big ass mansion parties, and the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party, and then it's a separate party in the little rooms. I ain't been famous that goddamn long. I'm excited in a month at the mansion party.
And if nobody shot Tupac, it's the same nobody that shot MLK.
The industry is full of homo hating ass. It's like they got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play their shit, right. And you know what I'm saying? They sucking the record label executive dicks, and it's like there's too much of that going on. Right. You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. Let me be the artist that I am, and just play my mother. You get me?
In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contract.
Katt Williams has never been quiet about his opinions, and for years, he said things on stage and in interviews that many people laughed off or ignored because they felt too uncomfortable to take seriously. Now, in 2025, with Sean Diddy combs behind bars and his public image unraveling, those old clips are resurfacing in a very different light, making people wonder if Katt was doing more than joking. Long before arrests, allegations, and endless online breakdowns, he spoke about a darker side of the entertainment industry, about powerful figures who acted untouchable and treated others like pieces in a game. When he mentioned Diddy, the tone always felt sharper, heavier, and more deliberate. What once sounded like exaggerated comedy or attention-seeking now feels unsettling, as if the punchlines were actually warnings people weren't ready to hear.
I ain't gonna say because Hollywood too strong. If they want you to be famous, you finna be famous. They don't give a fuck what's wrong with you. Even if you was allegedly riddled with herpes, they'll still have you in Vegas dancing.
Over the last year, a joke spread online that Katt Williams opened a portal when he said 2024 would be the year powerful deviants started catching hell, and it stuck as reality seemed to back it up. One by one, major figures fell to lawsuits, arrests, raids, and sudden career collapses, pushing fans to replay that interview and notice how calm and certain Katt sounded. Not angry or excited, just sure. When he brought up Diddy in connection to the Tupac situation after the first shooting, the tone shifted completely, and it was clear he wasn't joking anymore. Saying he had the receipts didn't feel like comedy, it felt like a warning, as if a line had been drawn and crossing it would have consequences.
Sure, anybody who gets shot will tell you who shot them, right?
Yeah.
But if the person nobody
You're predicting this is going to be a nobody situation.
I'm making no predictions whatsoever. I'm saying the police said they arrested the shooters, then said they didn't arrest the shooters. But I was there, so I know that 20 minutes after people were laying down on the ground shot, no police had entered the club yet.
And later, when Tupac regained consciousness, what he reportedly said became the moment many fans point to as sealing the narrative, a statement that, according to those accounts, strongly implied Puffy's involvement and shifted the story from speculation to something far more serious in the public imagination.
You feel like that. That's all I ask for. That's all I ask for. If you're gonna act like you a gangster or a G or the king of New York, I'm gonna expect that. And when you don't come through, then I'm gonna crush your empire. And that's what it's time for.
So do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was gonna go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue, because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New York is commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, read it, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The fourth issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? How did I get gunpowder all over?
In a later interview, Katt explained why his tone changed whenever Diddy's name came up with Tupac, saying Tupac wasn't just his favorite artist, but someone he felt deeply connected to. He said that if he ever believed someone was responsible for taking his guy out, that was something he could never let go of, no matter the cost, because nothing could erase it. He made it clear he didn't care how his life turned out if it meant holding someone accountable, unable to accept the idea of them walking away untouched. Whether people agree or not, the emotion was raw and showed how strongly he felt there was more to Tupac's death than the official story. And for those who grew up on Bad Boy, Death Row, Tupac, Biggie, and that era, it doesn't feel random, because the whispers, strange footage, and vanished artists have always been there, like pieces sitting in plain sight for decades, waiting to be connected. Next voice. Even Gene Deal, who was around during that time, later claimed that Diddy allegedly played a role in setting up Biggie's death that night, adding another layer to the long-running suspicions surrounding what really happened.
He killed Biggie and he killed Tupac. I genuinely believe that. It's my personal opinion. He killed them both. Set it up, orchestrated it, knew what was going to happen, and then off the top of that, propelled off their deaths to make money from them, created a career, took Biggie off the Rolling Stone cover so that he could have that Rolling Stone cover, wanted to set up this huge funeral running through Brooklyn, only to then bill Biggie's estate the funeral bill because he wasn't paying anything for it. Suddenly naming the album Life After Death. But what was so manipulative to me is that this man in every publication was stating that I am Diddy's best friend, I'm Diddy's close friend. They weren't that close. The way he lied, no intro, we're gonna get into this. The way he lied to act like he was Diddy's best friend when that wasn't even the case.
For years, people assumed 50 Cent was just trolling when he joked about Diddy's parties, shopping trips, and casual come hang out invites. But hearing those stories now hits differently. After seeing documentary footage of Diddy obsessing over image control and legal narratives, those jokes don't feel like missed networking opportunities anymore. Instead, they sound like moments where 50's street instincts kicked in hard, warning him to keep his distance, and he listened.
Up until the night Big died, got murdered.
What did you see that day?
When me and Puff touched down in California, we were going everywhere. You understand? He got connected with Sally Richardson, and we were going to the movies. We were going to the House of Blues, everywhere. So I called Kirk Burroughs, on your brains. I thought you said we wasn't going nowhere. Puff is going everywhere, and it's just me and him. So I said, yo, wow. They're coming to get us. So I called Kirk Burroughs. I told Kirk Burroughs we need more security. Because at the time, we only had myself, Kenny Story, and Paul. And Paul had hired a cop from Inglewood. We've only got 4 security out there. You know what I'm saying? And here we got Puff, Big, and they entourage, the whole 9 yards. So, he tells me that Puff is not getting any more security.
When 50 talks about Diddy having a public mask and a private god complex, it suddenly starts to explain a lot. Because on the surface, he was brother love, the smiling billionaire and inspirational mogul, while behind the scenes, according to people close to him, he was someone who believed he was untouchable. They describe a man convinced he could control outcomes, control people, and even bend history in his favor, creating a sharp contrast between the image sold to the world and the power he thought he truly held.
Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
That context makes the Netflix documentary hit much harder, especially watching footage of Diddy recording his own legal calls, pushing for media manipulation, and talking about jurors like obstacles instead of people, because it doesn't come off as paranoia, but as entitlement. The mindset of someone who truly believed the system would bend around him. Once you see that, it becomes easier to understand why so many people are revisiting the deaths that seem to follow him throughout his career. For decades, the explanation was simple. Hip-hop was violent, beef went too far, legends died, and everyone mourned and moved on. Now though, a different question keeps coming up every time the smoke clears. Who benefited? Whose profile grew? Whose power expanded? And whose checks got bigger while others were being buried? That's where an uncomfortable idea starts creeping in for some people. Not sacrifice in a supernatural sense, but in a cold, calculated industry way, where anyone who becomes too big, too independent, or too uncontrollable suddenly disappears, and the machine never stops moving.
Make the moves that break the rules. A fool and his money is soon parted, so we take from fools. If and when you ever fall down, get back up. Drop some, stop fronting, pick that shit back up. Stand for something or fall for everything. Wait for the right pitch or miss with every swing. In the absence of the truth, bullshit prevails. So what they did and threw truth in jail. The objective is to keep you blind. So along with the handcuffs in your arms, they got shackles on your mind. Seek and you shall find, accepting failure is the only crime. Fall down 8 times, get up 9.
The problem is that many of the bravest artists now sitting in hip-hop's graveyard were the ones who had the talent and courage to challenge the industry directly. Artists like DMX, who openly pushed back against powerful figures and warned people in real time. Instead of being protected, those voices were often isolated, exhausted, or overwhelmed by a system that doesn't reward resistance, leaving behind a legacy that feels less like coincidence and more like a pattern of what happens when someone refuses to play along.
Well, you know, Locks got signed before I did. Even though I bought the Locks Rock Riders, you know, they got signed. They were a safer group. You know, Pop signed them. And it was a blessing and a curse because you know, they were sure they were happy about getting signed first, and they were on the Benjamins and shit was going. But then he made them jiggy and put them in suits and made them write lyrics for him and took all that publishing and like, damn.
Was out here, they was here yesterday and they said they didn't get no money.
I didn't say they didn't get no money.
The Locks,
they said they felt that at this point in their career that it doesn't make sense. They feel like you get more money than them.
So I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna tell you what I got. I'm gonna tell you what I got. Let's ask you, let's remove me and the Locks, me and you in the business deal. I meet you when you coming up. You want me to invest in you. You know what I'm saying? You a new company. I invested in D Block. You know what I'm saying? I'm investing in you. You a new company. At the end of the day, here come the splits. Out of the money, you get over $1.5 million. And I get 400 or under $400,000. That's it, New York. They got over $1.5 million. And I got
this was back then?
No, this is everything today. They got 1.5 million
whole career?
Albums. They got for the albums they put out. These remember, they the streets. They not making no #1 top 10 pop records. They the streets. So they sitting here crying like I got more money. That's the money that I got. I'm divulging. I don't even speak my information on the street. I will never, ever do this again.
Honestly, just because I let you get some of that specifics in. We didn't really get into too much of the specifics yesterday. I guess just the point that they came up here was, you know, they might be misinformed. I don't know, yes or no, about how much exactly it is. But either way, they have been, they say, trying to get out of this publishing deal for 10 years.
Check this. Okay. If you check this out, if you yourself, you invest in AT&T.
Right.
Okay?
No, I get it.
No. You invest in AT&T. AT&T, they didn't even start making phones. Then AT&T, whatever years later, say that they want your shares back. But there's no reason. They just say that they just want their shares back. Or even better, you buy a house. You go and you buy a house on set in Harlem. You go buy the house. And
I mean, I get it.
No,
You're
no,
investing, you want to
Yeah, but I'm saying it doesn't. So they've been calling to knock on the door saying they want their house back. They had sold their house. They didn't even sell a house. To be honest, they came up here and they're portraying in New York that they sold a house. I don't own their house. Puff does not own 50%. Puff owns 20%. I don't never divulge my information or my business, but it's just the fact that this is just so crazy, and I'm just it's not even worth it. This is not even worth it to me.
Right.
So out of the house that I bought, I don't even own the house. I just invested in the ground floor. So now you say, just give me the ground floor back just because. I could see if it was what they were saying. They came up here and cried to New York. They cried broke. They used the word slavery. Over $1.5 million in slavery, and I get 400. That's slavery. There's people that are really feeling like they working in the streets. Streets keep it real. There's people that are struggling, and they up here crying. Stop whining, man.
Diddy wasn't seen by some critics as just a savvy executive, but as a powerful figure at the center of an industry machine that always seemed to benefit him when rivals grew too big or too independent. To those who believe the pattern, artists whose success threatened to shift the balance of power often ended up sidelined through controversy, legal trouble, or career collapse. While Diddy's influence continued to grow, in the streets and online, it's talked about like an unspoken rule. Once you challenge the empire, you stop being an asset. In that narrative, Tupac and Biggie aren't viewed as random victims of rap beef, and DMX becomes another name people point to, not as proof, but as part of a long-running suspicion. Others go even further, alleging that control didn't always come through removal, but through influence, access, and image management over younger stars, a system that critics say consistently worked more in his favor than theirs.
Alright, Usher, Justin Bieber, Diddy. This is how they all connect. When Usher was super young, he got signed to a guy named L.A. Reid, this famous music executive. Usher then loses his voice. L.A. Reid wants to help him, get back on track, so he sends him over to this guy named Puff Daddy. And as you can imagine, Usher had a problem. He just didn't know it yet. See, Puff Daddy was this up-and-coming music executive who could really turn someone into a star. He put them through this thing called Flavor Camp. And during Usher's term in this Flavor Camp, he lived with Puff. And in Usher's words, he would see questionable things. He said at any given time, you can open the door and see a bunch of random people playing Netflix. He said he would be up all night partying when all he really wanted to do was go to the studio. And this is when people speculate that Diddy did something to Usher. Now, I need you to listen to me. I'm going to give you the evidence as to why people believe this. But until you hear words from Usher, Diddy, Justin Bieber, nobody knows anything. All right, so Diddy and Usher are in an interview with Kevin Hart. Diddy said, "Hey, yo, pause. When Usher used to live with me, we used to wrestle for Frosted Flakes." Kevin Hart said, "What?" Diddy said, and he grabs Kevin Hart and pulls him off camera because Kevin Hart doesn't have a filter. After Diddy's Flavor Camp, Usher comes out with an album called Usher. It has really explicit details about watching Netflix. Everybody's like, nah, this is uncomfortable. And people actually did not like the album because his young voice talking about those details really threw people off. And of course, the album was executively produced by Puff Daddy. His mom was like, yo, what the so she grabs Usher. You got former bodyguards coming out saying, yeah, Diddy was very inappropriate with Usher. There's a rumor that Usher got sent to the hospital because of an encounter with Diddy. In fact, rumors have been circulating for like 20 years about this situation. Which brings us to Usher and Justin Bieber. See, Justin Bieber was coming up in the same way Usher was, like when he was super young. L.A. Reid again found Justin Bieber. Usher and Justin Timberlake both wanted to sign Bieber. But Bieber chooses Usher and Usher basically becomes a mentor. Now, Usher then sends a young Bieber to Diddy for 48 hours. And in this interview, Diddy's saying stuff like, man, Justin is doing things that any 15-year-old would dream of doing. And the thing that's always kind of annoyed me about Diddy personally is he's always towing this imaginary line in interviews. Because of his ego, he has been snitching on himself in interviews. If you listen, he'll say something like, Justin be having a really good time with me. If no one acknowledges it, he'll be like, I can't say too much. You know what I'm saying? But like a really good time. I can't say too much though. You feel me? And he'll do this like throughout the whole interview. But here's the thing about Justin Bieber. He's been insanely harassed by the entertainment industry over the years. In fact, Justin Bieber comes out with a song about it where he's not just talking about one person. He's talking about the whole industry. In fact, Justin Bieber starts crying in an interview when Billie Eilish's name is brought up. He says that he wants to protect her and young people in the industry so they won't go through what he went through.
Back in the 1,990 seconds, Big L was regarded as one of underground hip-hop's most formidable talents, known for his sharp freestyles and natural lyrical skill. His life ended in a tragic drive-by shooting outside 45 West 139th Street in Harlem, an incident often linked to a long-running street conflict involving his brother. A childhood friend was briefly arrested, but later released, leaving the case unresolved. Since then, rumors have continued to circulate, with some suggesting there were deeper industry tensions tied to his rise and his Rockefeller connection, and while no claims were ever proven, the speculation has endured, adding lasting mystery to his untimely death.
The first time I ever saw Jay-Z or even heard him spit a rhyme was at an MC battle, street battle in New York. But he didn't show up as Jay-Z. He didn't show up as the hottest rapper on the street. He showed up as with Big L.
Rest
For
in
those
peace.
of you,
Rest in peace, Big L.
rest in peace, Big L.
One of the
That was the
dopest. One of the
sensei.
dopest. Yes.
Big L was who put Jay-Z on.
Without question.
And then Big L died, and then the next thing you know, Jay-Z. And then, you know, he starts clienteling with Tupac and clienteling with Biggie and doing songs with Biggie and building a working, you know, camaraderie with Honeycombs and AKA Diddy.
Kim couldn't have nobody. You understand what I'm saying, bro? Diddy could do whatever, Puff could do whatever he wanted to do, Brother Love could do whoever he wanted to be. If Kim ever tried to get with somebody, Puff would interfere with them or with her trying to be with them. He wasn't letting that happen. Unless he was bringing them to the picture. That's what he used Kim for, bro. He wanted to make a deal with somebody. He'll get another girl and a guy that he's trying to make a deal with, and him and Kim, they all party together. Man, he used Kim for that shit, bro.
Kim Porter's exhaustion with Diddy wasn't just about physical harm. It was about realizing she was trapped in a system meant to slowly break her down. The bruises were only the surface, because the deeper danger came from the business ties that made leaving nearly impossible. When one person controls your career, your income, and your industry connections, walking away isn't just emotional. It can feel like a threat to your entire life. Next voice. Next voice. This reframes Diddy's approach as something far more calculated, with Kim allegedly used as leverage to secure bigger deals while being kept in a position where leaving wasn't an option. What looked like romance functioned more like a business strategy, creating a system where control came before care. That kind of entrapment made other forms of mistreatment easier, because when someone controls your career, they also control your silence. And when Kim reportedly tried to break free, that's when the situation became far more dangerous.
Kim Porter says she dumped Diddy.
I feel like
In a statement to the TV show The Insider, she says she decided to end what she calls her on-again, off-again relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. She says it was in the best interest of both them and their family.
You gotta realize, man, Kim's death wasn't even investigated, bro. Her death wasn't even investigated. And it should have been a proper investigation so all the family members can feel like that there was no foul play in her death. How is it that you know how we are as a people? I don't believe that 10% of your viewers that's watching this don't keep their phone when they go to sleep in arm reach. How is it that there was no electronic products or gadgets around Kim's bed? Her laptop missing, her cell phone's missing. Everything is missing that she could get in touch with her little girls if they not at home or her friends or family. All that's missing. How is it that, and this is her say, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at? That the coroner had already removed her
pronounced her dead, and told the detectives that it was no foul play. And if that is true, as I've heard it, and we read certain things on the internet about it, that case needs to be reopened. We know that Kim, and it's in the this is in the documentation. Shout out to Paperwork. At the Paperwork part, I gotta shout him out, man, because he looked in the paperwork and it said Kim received a massage for about an hour when she's supposed to have full-blown pneumonia. Who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia? And do we know whether she used that baby oil or not for that massage?
Katt Williams never claimed he had proof of sacrifices, but he did say that powerful men always leave trails. And when people look back now, many feel that the trail surrounding Diddy is long and unsettling, marked by artists gone, associates staying silent, critics pushed aside, and finally the sense that the walls are closing in. Diddy has denied any involvement in deaths linked to his name. His team dismisses documentaries as hit pieces, and they argue that witnesses are motivated by grudges or money. And legally, he has never been charged in connection with Tupac or Biggie. Those facts matter and can't be ignored. But so does public perception. And that perception is shifting rapidly as more people revisit old stories, connect familiar dots, and question narratives they once accepted without hesitation.
You know Pac just got killed. It ain't no kind of business Big was doing. Big couldn't even walk. He couldn't run. They was pushing him around in a wheelchair, brother. Why the heck would you rent studio time in LA for him to finish your album when in fact you got your own studio, Daddy's out?
Now that Diddy is in prison and much of his power has faded, the things people once feared saying out loud feel safer to acknowledge. Fans are revisiting old interviews, artists are choosing their words more carefully, and figures like Katt Williams are being re-evaluated not as entertainers stirring controversy, but as voices who spoke too early. The unsettling part isn't whether every allegation is true, but how many similar stories exist, how many warnings were ignored because the man at the center seemed untouchable. When people say Katt revealed a list, what they really mean is that he pointed to a pattern. Names like Tupac, Biggie, Big L, and Kim Porter, figures of talent and influence who never lived long enough to tell their full stories. Whether it was negligence, ambition, or something darker, the outcome was the same. They were gone while his influence grew. The real question now isn't whether Katt was crazy, but why so many people laughed instead of listening. And as the industry continues to shake, it leaves one lingering thought. If this much surfaced after the fall, how much is still buried?